Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience and cooperation. And it's now time for the closing keynote, a moment for us to gather wisdom and insights of a true visionary leader. This session is going to be moderated by Mr. Harish Mehta, founding president of TiEcon Mumbai, the very first Thai chapter in India, and author of The Maverick Effect. The session promises to leave us with profound insights on entrepreneurship and leadership, and I'm honored to introduce our keynote speaker and our chief guest for this evening, the legendary Mr. Narayana Murthy, a founder of Infosys. His journey, insights, and timeless wisdom has inspired countless entrepreneurs across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a heartfelt welcome with a huge round of applause to Mr. Harish Mehta and Mr. Narayana Murthy. Put your hands together, please, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a huge round of applause.
Good evening, friends. It's a great honor for me to have a fireside chat with a visionary who literally changed the fundamental way of looking at a business. In the early 90s, when taking shortcuts was a common practice, Mr. Murthy introduced the corporate governance practices or ethical practices and not only created huge wealth, but also created a global success. He acted as a catalyst at NASSCOM, again, having the ripple effect of corporate governance, where the tech industry has a basic, I would say, fundamentals of ethical practices. And in the process, industry delivered 30% compounded growth over 30 years. So thank you very much for Mr. Murthy for driving it. And a huge round of applause for one and only Mr. Murthy.
Well, before we start the conversation, let me say, for those of you who do not know, Harish used to be my boss. He was the first elected president of NASSCOM, and I was the first elected vice president of NASSCOM.
By the way, that's the only area I'm ahead of Mr. Murthy.
No, there is another very important person here. We have Sri Mohandas Pai, who is probably the brightest person that I have worked with. He's a rare person who has both left brain and right brain capabilities. You know, he has designed some of the finest buildings, not just in finance. He created a lot of benchmarks in finance. So it's really an honor to be in the presence of these two, plus all of you.
Thank you. Mr. Murthy, talking about Mohandas Pai, in my book I have written that China cannot compete with India or any other country because we have people like Mohandas Pai who reads math like a poetry, and which we have seen today how he spoke during that 25 minutes. Thank you, Mohan. So now today, looking at a 50,000 feet view, Murthy, you have been an advocate of compassionate capitalism. Here is a startup ecosystem in front of us who at least now believes in DhandaFirst, which probably wasn't the case before. So that is now seeping in. So what does it mean, compassionate capitalism, to this ecosystem?
You know, capitalism is all about providing opportunity for people to come out with new ideas, to create wealth for themselves and their investors, to create jobs for people and thereby reduce poverty, and to contribute to taxes in the country so that lot of public good work can take place. To me, all of you assembled here are the heroes. It is you who will build future India. It is you who will remove poverty from India, not some slogan mongering fellows and all of that. None of that is going to happen from them. Now, compassionate capitalism is capitalism in mind, but socialism at heart. It is in a country like India, which has for long embraced socialism, which believed in equal outcomes for everybody, which you and I know it is not possible. What compassionate capitalism does is to treat people as human beings, employees as human beings, to understand their problems, to ensure that there is a reasonable ratio between the lowest salary and the highest salary, to ensure that the respect and dignity of every corporate employee is maintained, to praise people in public and criticize in private, and to the extent possible, to share the fruits of the corporation in a fair manner amongst all the employees of the company. Now, we, the capitalists, we, the evangelists of capitalism, we have a responsibility to make sure that capitalism is not seen in the wrong light. That's all your responsibility. Because by and large, in any country which has had socialism for such a long time, there will always be skepticism about capitalism. There will be skepticism about people who are rich. Therefore, it is incumbent on every one of us to conduct ourselves in a way that those skeptics will also say, yeah, there is something good in this thing called capitalism. There is something good in entrepreneurship. And to do that, all of us have to become strong evangelists, and we have to walk the talk. Just saying great things and not doing them will not be sufficient. So compassionate capitalism is combine the good aspects of capitalism with the good aspects of socialism.
Thank you. I'll give one example of how Mr. Murthy follows compassionate capitalism. When we started NASSCOM, we were in a loss. And there were about 50, 60 companies who were the members of NASSCOM. And we had decided that we will share the expenses. But when they looked at the losses, and it came to about 25,000 rupees per month for each company, which was a big amount in those days. Within another few months, there was a huge loss which was not accounted for, came to us. So now we say, what do we do? So at that time, Mr. Murthy and Infosys offered training programs on IBM AS400 computer. Now, IBM AS400 was the computer on which there was a huge demand was supposed to open up. So he conducted training programs at Infosys campus on AS400, invited all his competitors. They can send their best software engineers for training. Just imagine now. And the entire contribution of that was given to NASSCOM to fund the losses. I mean, imagine you inviting your competitors, best engineers, you train them to compete with you tomorrow. But he looked at the big picture, that NASSCOM as an institute has to survive and grow, because keeping India first, keeping industry first, and in that sense, collaboration with competitors became a theme for his philosophy, and of course, it was again promoted by NASSCOM. So here we talked about compassionate or maybe the socialism, but then there's another aspect which is tech for our industry. Our industry was born out of automation by the Western world. We ended up creating a huge industry out of the automation done by and our industry was sort of hand in glove, it fitted very well with India's social and economic needs, creating jobs, retaining best of best people, earning foreign exchange. Now when we look at AI and the automation and all these advanced technologies, which is going to accelerate the automation, how do entrepreneurs plan their business plan, which will align with India's social and economic needs?
Well, I think that's a very important and very critical question. My own belief is that technology is about enhancing revenues, improving productivity, reducing cost, reducing risks, etc., etc. Of course, at a consumer level, enhancing comfort, enhancing quality of life, enhancing entertainment, etc. Now, if you go through the history of technology, every technology has led to higher growth rates of economy. For example, the developed world, which embraced technology much more than we have done very fast, there the unemployment is, for example, in the US, it's just 4.7%. And on the other hand, I don't know, Mohan would know the level of unemployment in India. But the point is simply this. Technology, when it is used in an assistive manner, will only help growth of economy. For example, in 1971, there was a big strike by the banking staff union when they wanted to introduce computers. But what happened in that country was the government invited the specialists in computers, in economics, etc. And they sat down with the labor union and they explained how use of computers will actually create more jobs. And the union accepted. And we all know that's exactly what happened in England, that's what has happened in India too. Now, however, in each technology, certain jobs will be eliminated, but if we use the technology in an assistive manner, you can grow the economy. AI, for example, if we use autonomous cars, yes, drivers' jobs will go away, no doubt about it. But if you use those autonomous vehicles for transportation, for hospital care, for ambulances, etc., etc., it will lead to a lot of expansion of those companies which are in those areas and create jobs. So the key to keep in mind is, for us, the leaders of entrepreneurship, is to say, what are the aspects of technology that we can use in an assistive manner? And let us train our employees to be able to become masters of these technologies and expand our revenue, make more profit, provide better salaries for our employees, etc., etc. So I am very positive minded on use of technology, and I've seen so many. Let me give you another example which Harish will know very well. In 1975, there came a set of software tools called CASE tools, CASE, Computer Aided Software Engineering Tools. I mean, Praveen would know it very well. Everybody wrote hundreds of articles saying that, no, programming will be over, there'll be no jobs for programmers. But something very interesting happened. The most flexible and the most powerful instrument in the world is human mind. The moment case tools came into the arena, people started designing more and more and more complex systems. And they soon realized that these case technologies cannot handle. And actually, the job opportunities for programmers increased by a large percentage, a large multiple after these case tools. So I would like everybody to think of how we can use these AI and automation in an assistive manner. Number two, how to make sure that these technologies can help us to grow our revenue. That's the job of the leaders. That innovation, that thinking, that strategy is where we would be responsible. It's not those youngsters. It's not their problem. It's our problem. And those companies which succeed, they succeed because the leaders succeed there. Those companies that fail, they fail because the leaders have failed. That's what I would say.
Thank you. I think we have 5 minutes left. So my last question to you is, what advice you would give to the startup entrepreneurs here? But before you give, I'll tell you a small story about Rishi. His son-in-law, Rishi Sunak, had come back to UK. And he asked Mr. Murthy, what should I do to make an impact in UK? Mr. Murthy suggested that I recommend, if you really want to make an impact, enter politics. And he did. And the rest is the history, as we all know. So please listen to his advice for the next few minutes about what he's going to say. Mr. Murthy.
Sorry, I forgot the question earlier.
Advice.
Advice, okay. Yeah. Well, my request to every one of you is to keep earning respect from your stakeholders as number one objective. Mohan has been part of this journey for the most critical period, so he would know. The moment you say that we want more and more respect from our society, from our stakeholders, then you have to do the right things by the society. Society consists of customers, employees, investors, vendor partners, government of the land, and therefore, if you think in terms of doing good to the society, more and more customers will come and give you repeat business. More and more good employees will join you. More and more long-term investors will come to you. And more vendor partners will put up with you in your time of difficulty. And the bureaucrats will look at you very sympathetically. The politicians would want you to succeed. Therefore, I would say just write down in your boardroom that we want to earn more and more and more respect from our stakeholders. If you follow that, then 99% of your problems will go away. Every company, every startup that failed did not follow this. Second, I would say is this: please benchmark yourself with the best global company in each function of your enterprise, whether it is finance, whether it's sales, whether your disclosure levels, whether it is quality, productivity, etc. In the beginning, it looks like an almost impossible task. But the moment your mindset has been created, pretty soon you will start making progress. And one day, as my friend late C.K. Prahlad used to say, you will start creating the next practice in that area. I mean, Mohan is here. He created so many next practice finance in the country. So not only do you benchmark yourself with the best companies in each function, but hire or get talent that is smarter than you, create an environment which is open to new ideas, create an environment which is full of enthusiasm, create an environment that says, there is nothing impossible for us. That is the job of the leader. And that's what you people are all at the end of the day. And so please keep that in mind. If you have these few things that I talked about, I have no doubt that each of you will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. And that's how you solve the problem of poverty. You don't solve the problem of poverty by freebies. No country has succeeded in that. Okay? So therefore, please create by your innovative ideas more and good jobs, and then our poverty will vanish like dew on a sunny morning.
Thank you. Our time is up. Do we have a time for one more question? Naveen, where are you? Do we have time? Or maybe I can ask another question to you. Yeah. If you were at the age when you started Infosys, today what would you start as a business?
Today, you're saying?
Today, yeah.
No, I think there are most of the things in a corporation, or most important things in a corporation, are time invariant and context invariant. Whether it is America or India, whether it is 1980s or 2020s, these things don't change. What are those? One, having an idea whose value to the customer can be expressed in a simple sentence, not a complex sentence, not a compound sentence. That is the first thing. Second, find out if there is a sufficient market for that idea. Third, find out if you can create differentiated value to your customer vis-a-vis your competitors. Then, as I already said, seek respect in everything that you do. And ensure that you lead by example in austerity, in hard work, in discipline, in not using the company resources for personal benefits, etc., etc. If you did that, like Mahatma Gandhi did, he walked the talk, right? He led by example. He was probably the leader who demonstrated to the world the power of leading by example. So if you did this, let me assure you that everybody would want to do business with you. Revenues will come, profits will come, market capitalization will come. So that's all what I would say.
Thank you. So do we have more time or no? Okay, we can take one question from the audience. Anybody raising your hand? Sorry, where? Yeah. Have a mic there?
You know, I'm slightly hard of hearing, therefore, please use a proper mic and speak slowly and clearly.
Yeah.
Try.
Come here, come with a friend.
Hello? Ha, sir, here.
No, there is a girl who wanted to ask a question, right? Please go ahead.
We really find a lot of politicians actually offering freebies during elections. So, what's your comment on the same? Because it's the current scenario.
No, I'll tell you, first of all, I'm a novice in politics. I'm a novice in public governance, so I have no right to comment. All that I can say is what I have read in books, what I have discussed with other political leaders in other parts of the country, other parts of the world, and they all feel that it does not help. However, what you can do is, when you provide such subsidies, you ask for something in return in kind. Let me give you a simple example. Supposing you give free electricity to poor people. That's a laudable thing. Nobody can argue. However, say that we will give you, for the first 6 months, free electricity of 200 units. At the end of 6 months, we'll conduct a random survey and find out if the children are reading more during the night because lights are available, and if they are performing slightly better in school. And most importantly, if the parents are actually taking some interest about the children. In other words, as Adam Smith said long time ago, you have to create incentive for people in everything you do. So if only our free electricity thing or other freebies are attached to something in kind that the recipient of that were to give in return to the public governance system, I think the country will leverage this better. That's my personal view. I have no experience in public governance system. So
May I ask a quick follow-up, sir? A very quick follow-up.
No, you should not ask follow-up because there is somebody else. He was. Yeah.
Still.
How do we apply? What is that? I didn't. What principles is? No, we are not able to hear from here.
How do we apply GIGO principle in artificial intelligence? Just now, whatever we input in AI will come out as whatever is input. So how do you put in more and more input so that the output is better in case of artificial intelligence?
You see, I think somehow there is, and first of all, I don't know what peacock principle, so I am ignorant of that. I will not say that. However, let me say something. Somehow it has become a fashion in India to talk of AI for everything. I have seen several normal, ordinary programs as being touted as AI. There are two fundamental principles in AI. One, machine learning, which is nothing but a large-scale correlation. Therefore, it helps you based on a large amount of data. It helps you to predict. That is simple machine learning. The second is what's called deep learning. Deep learning imitates how human brain works. So, in deep learning, you are able to solve, you are able to handle what are called unsupervised algorithms, while machine learning by and large handles supervised algorithms because you have to give a lot of data into that. Deep learning, using the data that it has, it creates new branches of programs or new branches, new conditions, and then it will be able to take decisions. So, unsupervised algorithms which use deep learning, which use neural networks, is the one that has much greater potential to do things that will mimic human beings better and better and better. But I find that most of the things, so-called AI that I see is silly, old programs. So anyway.
Thank you. I think we're running. Thank you. We were just. So thank you, Mr. Murthy, for sharing your valuable insights to all of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for Mr. Narayana Murthy and, of course, Mr. Harish Mehta for guiding this session so masterfully. Mr. Mehta, sir, I'm going to request you to please present Mr. Murthy with a token of appreciation on behalf of TiEcon Mumbai. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together one more time, please. Thank you, Mr. Murthy, for your invaluable insights and transformative words.